Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello. It is Dan Z from Coffee with Kenobi. Hello, Chris. Hello, David. Nice to see all of you here every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find us on coffeewithkenobi.com/live or facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi. I am your host, Dan Z. Very, very excited to be with each and every one of you tonight to share our passion and our love of all things Star Wars. It's awesome to be able to spend this evening with you, so thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join me. And of course, whether you are live or whether you are someone that is watching this later on YouTube channel or on Instagram or here on our Facebook page or in our amazing Coffee with Kenobi group, CWK Cafe, welcome, welcome, welcome. Dave Franz, the awesome Dave Franz, he says, love the intro. Have I always missed it? Well, it's always been a part of the show. I guess about 3 weeks, maybe. Does that sound about right, everybody? About 3 weeks? Yeah, trying to center you, Dave. Had it perfectly centered the other day. That'll work. It's something that we incorporated into the intro, just kind of a fun little sort of hello. Adam, good to see you. Hope we're all doing well and staying safe. Yes, we are. I hope you are as well. It's pretty wild out there, isn't it? There's a lot going on, but we're having a good time all the same, celebrating our love, our passion for Star Wars, and here tonight with you to discuss that. Hello, Tom. Tom, of course, our CWK newsman. Tom and I are going to record later to talk about the most recent episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and of course, next week, or this Friday, we're going to have the thing we've been waiting for so long, the Siege of Mandalore. So that is going to be very, very powerful stuff. Thank you for bearing with me as I center these. I want to be sure that everybody gets a spotlight. Hello, Nathan. Good to have you here on Coffee with Kenobi. Great to see you. LJ, there's LJ. LJ, I don't think you've missed a single one, have you, buddy? Very, very good. Who else is here? We've got Minta here. Hello, I love your avatar. It is crazy times, Dave. It's really, really wild. Pretty cool. So, Christopher joins us. He says, yes, I haven't caught the cast for a few years. I always recommend to friends. Well, thank you so much, Christopher. We're always happy to have you. We'll always save a cup of coffee for you here on Coffee with Kenobi. Of course, you can find us each and every week. Anywhere you can catch podcasts on Thursdays and then here Monday nights as well. Eric is back. Eric, good to see you, my friend. Eric's got his top 5 starships ready to roll for tonight. So we're going to do that. Tonight we're going to talk, as it says at the top of the show, we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite Star Wars Starfighters, and that was actually a really, really tough to do. Really, really hard to come up with just 5. LJ now bragging that he's got perfect attendance, and I think you do, buddy. And you know what? Same. We're in samesies. I think that's what you say. Yeah, exactly. As so many of you have complimented and reached out and shared how much you enjoy watching CWK on Facebook Live every 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. It's fun. This time I'm prepared. Last few times I lost my voice because when you talk for an hour straight, it's pretty tricky to do. Hey, look who's here. Brian is here. Brian is a local. He's a loyal member of the 501st, so good to have you, Brian. Brian and I both have a Novo Stormtrooper kits. I'm not sure how far along you are, Brian. I'm actually getting a lot closer. One day I hope to do one of these Monday night adventures where I can actually share me in the armor, so we'll see. We'll kind of see what happens. I've technically got a little more time to do it now. We'll see. We shall see. So what do you say? Oh, Tyler says, I over-prepared for the lightsaber duels, totally underprepared for the starships. I have a list at least. Hey, that's great. You have a list. I wrote this thing down, and I'll show you real quickly. I'm not going to give everything away that's on here. It might be hard because of the lighting, but I made, let's see, I made a list of 22, and you need to have 5, so I narrowed it down. So what do you say? Should we just jump right into our top 5? We may as well just go in and see kind of what we came up with. What we do with these top 5s every week is we want to be sure to give you an option to be a part of the show, right? You want you to be a part of Coffee with Kenobi on the podcast where you send in an MP3 or an email to danz@coffeewithkenobi.com or feedback@coffeewithkenobi.com. We want you to be a part of this conversation. And it works. It's worked well for a really long time. And now, look at Eric with the puns already. Let's blast off. Absolutely, we need to blast off and get started with this thing. But The nice thing about live every Monday night is that it's interactive. So that is great. We have a lot of fun doing that. So we're going to kick it off. I will go ahead and share. We're going to go backwards. Now, of course, it's totally fair, totally understandable that this is tough. Like, I guess I should have said maybe just land vehicles or maybe space or even water. There's a lot of water vehicles that actually surprised me. And I'm going to show you, this isn't a product placement, but I used DK's Encyclopedia of Starfighters and other vehicles tonight. This is where I kind of helped to hone my list. It's invaluable. It's got a lot of great stuff. It's got a lot of details on all of the Star Wars vehicles and ships and a lot of great stuff. So this was kind of my source book to help me kind of narrow things down. All right, so we're going to go backwards from 5 all the way over to my top one. Okay, so my number 5 that I have is Poe Dameron's X-Wing. It's technically, it's the, I thought I wrote it down. Let's see. Oh, it's his T-70 X-Wing. Yeah, Poe's T-70 X-Wing. I mean, I almost felt guilty not including an X-Wing right off the bat. And while I'm doing this, feel free to put your top 5 in there as well. Taj says, I may have to get that book. I love the visual dictionaries. Yeah, they are nice. They are extremely nice. They really do a good job. And of course, I'm biased. I'm very biased. Is this a bad time to do a shameless plug? Because in October we've got my my book coming out. We've got the Star Wars book, Expand Your Knowledge of a Galaxy Far, Far Away, coming out October 20th, 2020. Had to throw that in there because we are talking about DK. Again, that's not really how I planned it. It just sort of happened organically. So yeah, back to this. Tom says his top 5 is also the X-Wing. I didn't put the original X-Wing because I feel like, as much as I love the original one, I like my Kenner one so very much. I always thought it was cool, but I just never really reached out to me. And then I saw the pose with the black and orange, which is very much the color of what I have, or the school I teach at. That is their school colors, and I think it just kind of hit me. Wow, orange and black, and it's just really great and kind of bold. All that great stuff. Let's spotlight some of the ones that you all have named. Tom said, of course, his X-Wing. We'll put that back up there again. Eric says the Imperial Shuttle. I think you're talking about the Lambda class Imperial Shuttle from Return of the Jedi, I would guess. That is a great one. I never had that Kenner toy, but that is definitely like a really, really a beautiful one. David Nicely, welcome to the show, David. David says Y-Wing. Y-Wing. Oh, I already welcomed David. There's so many names popping up. When I see all of your faces popping up and interacting, it just makes me really happy. So thanks again to everybody for being here tonight. LJ says the Outrider, kind of a knockoff of the Falcon. I think that was on purpose. Let me move myself out of the way so we can read LJ's stuff. But he says, but I like the design and I have a soft spot for Dash Rendar. Dash Rendar, we never really talked about him on the show, from the Star Wars Legends line of things. But he definitely had a fun charisma to him. He was certainly a very much a Han Solo type of a character. That's for sure, no doubt about that. Nathan says, can't wait for the book. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have you see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Daniel says he had the Jedi Starfighter for number 5, a great choice for sure. Carrie says Mantis Fallen Order. Oh, that's cool. I hadn't thought about something from Fallen Order, but that's a great call. That's a great call. Adam says, never a bad time for a shameless plug. Thank you. There may be a few more of those as the night goes on. Aaron chimes in, the co-host of Star Wars Reactions. Good to see you, my friend. Aaron says A-Wing. Oh, sure. The A-Wings are awesome. Number 5 for Tyler. Ooh, the Millennium Falcon, number 5. Wow, I've got to say that's pretty low, but that would be my list. I'm curious why you picked it at number 5. It's a great call. I mean, the Falcon, right? The fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. Hey, William, good to see you, buddy. Nice to have you here. Minta says she's going to put the book on the wish list. Well, thank you. That's really, really cool. Very, very cool. Nathan says he's with Eric on his number 5. Very, very good. Minta says number 5 is the Ghost. Adam says black and orange is also a great color combo. Her PC, or Adam's PC, excuse me, is black and orange. Adam, that's a cute little pup you got there on your Facebook as well. Very good. All right, so let's move on to number 4. My number 4 is the Theta class shuttle from the Revenge of the Sith. This thing pops up occasionally on, see, Eric's already starting to be an instigator. That's kind of LJ's role, but Eric's taking it nicely too. He says the Falcon is a great character too. You know, for some reason I don't have my original Facebook Live that I did over a month ago where we talked all about the Falcon not being a character. Interesting. Anyway, so the Theta class shuttle appears a lot in the Clone Wars, and most famously in Revenge of the Sith. It's just very kind of a cool, sleek, kind of spooky take on the Lambda class shuttle from Return of the Jedi. I was always very interested in it. It almost looks kind of haunting and cryptic, but it's also very beautiful in the way it kind of slices through the air. I've always really been drawn to that. It's just, and the fact that it doesn't have really a top dorsal fin, for lack of a better term, I think is pretty neat. I've always really been intrigued by that one. I think that one's a really, really cool choice. Tyler says his brother is way more of a Falcon and Han Solo fan. He's more of a Jedi, which we'll see later on the list. Very good. Totally fair. Eric says the Y-Wing. Good. The Y-Wing's shown up a couple of times, which, by the way, happens to be Tom's number 2. Tom, I didn't know that. Very good. David says the Tantive 4 is his number 4 choice. Interesting. Aaron says the Jedi Interceptor. That's a cool one as well. I mean, there's so many cool ones. Adam says she's a pretty puppy. We had to put her to sleep tomorrow. Oh my gosh, Adam, I'm really sorry to hear that. Hey, thoughts and prayers to you, brother. I know that's really, really rough. We'll be thinking of you guys for sure. For number 4, Nathan says Dooku's Sailor. That's a good choice. That's a beautiful one. It's kind of got that awesome sort of, well, it's a sail, I guess. But it's always interesting to see a sail in space because there, of course, is no wind. But it works. Dooku makes it work, and who's going to tell him that his ship is wrong, right? Tyler, Poe Dameron's Black and Orange X-Wing, my number 5. Great choice. I love that ship. Christopher says he always enjoyed the TIE Defender from the TIE Fighter PC video game from the 90s. I'm going to move myself up here. How's that? Is that distracting? That should be okay. Shields, hyperspace, ion, and laser cannons destroyed many rebels back in the day. Nice. Very nice. Brian says the Razor Crest. Oh, wow, I should have put that on there too. Of course, from The Mandalorian. Absolutely. Carrie says the Ghost for me. Just finished Rebels last night. So much to unpack. Oh, Rebels, my favorite all time of the animated stuff. I mean, I love Clone Wars, obviously, but you really can't beat Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels is great. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger. Bear with me while I'm trying to resize things. Want to make this work. Okay, let's get rid of the shuttle here. Now, the next one I'm going to bring in, this will be number 3. Nathan says Rebels is the best. Yeah, Rebels is really, really great. You really can't go wrong with it. All right, so my number 3. I really wasn't sure how I was going to rank some of these. Really wasn't sure. But my number 3 is, boom, it's the Jedi Starfighters from Revenge of the Sith. I mean, they have Starfighters in Attack of the Clones and in Clone Wars. These start to show up. I think there's just, I've always been drawn to them. I mean, I clearly have more of an original trilogy bias or proclivity, I guess. But these things are stunning. I mean, look at them. They look like TIE Fighters and A-Wings sort of combined. And I've always been very drawn with them. I think they're really, really cool. David's number 3. Let's see, where are you? Let's see. Let me move myself. I wonder if it's not going to show up. I'll get rid of this. I'll get rid of the picture of the Starfighter. David's number 3 is the TIE Whisperer. Yeah, for sure. Those things, there's so many cool ties to look at and to really enjoy and break down that it was hard to sort of narrow down how I wanted to approach it. So that's why I picked the Jedi Starfighter, because it's kind of got the best of both worlds there. Tom says a Naboo cruiser, sleek and shiny. Yes, very, very good choice. Eric says the ARC 170 or 170 from Revenge of the Sith. I almost put that one on my list. I really like that one too. It's a really sleek looking Lego as well, by the way. Tyler says the Azure Angel, Anakin's custom starfighter from 2003 Clone Wars. Oh, good call. That is a nice deep cut for sure. LJ says the Naboo N1 starfighter, beautiful. Yep, I've been seeing those a lot in Battlefront recently. Pretty slick. Carrie says Kylo shuttle. Absolutely, that one's cool. I've got the Hot Wheels miniature of that one as well. Nathan says the TIE Interceptor. And that one, I think, made its debut in Revenge of the Sith, if memory serves. Speaking of TIE fighters, Daniel says the TIE Fighter for number 3. Yes, very, very cool. Number 3 is the Falcon. Only the second time we've seen the Falcon so far. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Let's see. Who else we have? Oh, Brian says Slave 1. Odd design and memorable. For sure. Yeah. Slave 1 is one that I love that original Kenner figure of. That one's really, really good stuff. Yeah, that is a good one. For sure. Let's see. I'm scrolling through everybody's comments. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I think we got everybody. All right, if you're out there and want to pitch in, weigh in, let us know. Let's go ahead and go to my number 2. What am I going to pick for the number 2? Well, it's these babies. Let me get rid of my picture here. It's the AT-ATs. The AT-ATs they're the AT-ATs, right? I mean, is there anything more iconic than AT-ATs? They are just stellar. I mean, there have been a few modifications of them, but I mean, really, do you really need to make a modification of an AT-AT? The AT-ATs are as good as it gets the way they already are. They're awesome. They are classic. They're iconic. And they're just stunning. I'll never forget seeing them for the first time on the big screen. The music, the sound effects of them. So, so cool. So cool. Eric says number 2, Jedi Starfighter from Attack of the Clones. Interesting. I wonder how many people are going to go between the one from Attack of the Clones and from Revenge of the Sith. Very, very good. So let's see. Tom says the Ghost. Yes, the Ghost. Which apparently is a little bit faster than the Falcon, which is interesting. Aaron says the TIE Defender. Yes, another TIE as well. Again, there's like 5, 6, 7 TIEs that keep coming out. What's the name of the TIE in The Mandalorian? Anybody know that one? I don't know on the top of my head. LJ, another one for the Ghost. LJ says the Ghost. David says Slave 1. Hey, David and LJ both have pictures around the Dejarik table from Galaxy's Edge, I'm assuming. Hey, Tyler says the Ghost as well. How about that? Adam says the AT-IET. I love it. You got it. Those are good stuff. Nathan says the Ghost. And there is, hey, Clayton, what's up, man? 6-year-old says AT-ATs look fake in the movie. Clayton says he's clearly adopted. Clayton, I just think that's parenting, buddy. I don't know. No, you know what? That's fair. So far, Mason hasn't said that yet, but I'm going to brace myself. This was a good therapy session. Thank you, my friend. Daniel's number 2 is Luke's X-Wing. Iconic. Yes, it's definitely iconic for sure. And then our good friend Brian says, hard to beat the AT-AT, especially if you were a kid when The Empire Strikes Back came out. Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of AT-ATs, Ryan says the Snowspeeder. That is a good one as well. Anybody else have a number 2? Or do you want to weigh in if you're just now joining us? We're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook.com/CoffeeWithKenobi or CoffeeWithKenobi.com/live. Happy to have you with us to discuss Star Wars and kind of unpack. We do top 5s, we do trivia, we look at some Star Wars news. Always try to have a lot of fun. Brian says the Razor Crest is a win with a personal carbonite chamber. Yep. Honestly, when I first saw it, I'm like, really? Is that transportable and that easy? But it ended up growing on me. It ended up being pretty cool. Very, very good. All right. I think it is time to share our number 1. My number 1, I would say. Okay, let me turn that off. My number 1, I'm sure, is a shock to everyone. It's the Millennium Falcon. One of my very, very favorite things about Star Wars is the Millennium Falcon. I love it. It's the Falcon. I mean, it's delivered us so many iconic moments. It's transported our heroes in and out of a lot of tough spots. It's got just this incredible, unique design. It's still funny when I think about the fact that George was inspired by pizza, which I think is pretty funny. But of course it's the Falcon. I mean, what else would it be? I love the Falcon so much. Great stuff. Let's see what all the rest of you thought. Tom and I, Aaron says the Ghost. I'm not surprised, Aaron. I know how much you love Rebels. Not surprised at all. Tom says the Falcon. Tom and I very much have that in common for sure. Tyler says Revenge of the Sith Jedi Interceptor. Well, there you go. LJ says it's the Falcon, the only ship that's also. Sorry, LJ, I can't read that last part. I don't really know what you're talking about there. Nathan says, of course, the Falcon. It's if you haven't figured out, it's a long-running joke that everyone seems to think the Falcon is a character except for me. David says you can't go wrong with the Falcon. Minta says you can't doubt the Falcon. Carrie says TIE Silencer, which is also really, really slick. Alex Sandell says the Ghost. Clayton, what's your number one ship? I'm going to guess you're a Falcon guy as well. Eric says the Naboo Starfighter, sleek and elegant, harkens back to early 20th century sci-fi. Yes, it absolutely does. It's a gorgeous ship. Yeah, he was inspired by pizza, that kind of that shape. Look, you'll never kind of look at the Falcon the same way again. And Daniel says Falcon number one all the way as well. And of course, I thought so, Falcon. When we were at Galaxy's Edge for the media premiere, Clayton did a great picture where he was in front of the Falcon and was looking at the manual. Remember that? That was pretty good stuff. Well, hey, thank you everybody so much for joining us for your top fives. That was a blast. It was a blast to talk with you about that. Next week we'll have a brand new top five for sure. So thank you again for joining us for that. It's funny, we kind of get a little bit of prep time. I mean, going into these shows, you got to prepare a lot of stuff. So it's kind of fun to kind of share that experience with all of you. Tyler says, looking at the Falcon is going to make me hungry. Now, I actually had pizza for dinner tonight, too. Huh, how about that? Brian says, what a piece of junk. My 16-year-old likes Snoke's Dreadnought the most. He loves Last Jedi. Hey, so do I. Your son is a wise man, for sure. Brian says, can't beat the Falcon. I also had Devastator's Vader Star Destroyer imposing. Yeah, that's a good one, too. And remember when we first saw that one, and it just dwarfs all of the other ones, and it kind of zooms over. That's great stuff. It really is. It's a lot of hard work. It is. It's a lot of hard work to prepare this stuff, but so much fun. And so then you feel like you just get to be a part of doing all this for sure. Christopher says, thank you for continuing to do the show. Countless hours of enjoyment. Christopher, thank you so much, man. It's a labor of love, I tell you. I couldn't do it without my wife, holding down the fort while I'm getting certain things ready. It's fun. I love doing it. I love getting to meet all of you and get to talk Star Wars with you. Tom, I had a hard time not choosing a Star Destroyer as well. And then it's the same with the TIE Fighters. Then which one do you pick? There's so many to choose from, for sure. I had some deep cuts from the Dark Empire comics on my list. Oh, nice, nice. You know what? We can do some honorable mentions if you want. I don't have any pictures of them. Tom says, the Tandem Force, so many. I know. All right, I'll read my top. You still missed the beard. Well, it comes back pretty easily. I don't know, summer beards just don't really jive very well, but the weather we've had in Illinois recently, not so much. All right, so here's my honorable mentions. Feel free to put your honorable mentions in the comments below. Keep them coming. I love seeing your comments. It's great. All right, I had the T-16 Skyhopper. I had the Blade Wing from the Ghost, which I thought was always, I know it's a prototype of the B-Wing, but now after reading this manual, I'm very, very aware of why the B-Wing, or why B-Wings in Return of the Jedi didn't function the way the Blade Wing did, because it was a prototype and it was too expensive. It makes sense. The Rebellion was trying to piece things together. I also had the Ghost as an honorable mention. Slave 1. I had the Cloud Car, Snowspeeder, the Imperial Troop Transport, of course, the Imperial Assault Tank. If I had to pick just ground vehicles, I might put that at the very top. The regular X-Wing, the Sith Infiltrator, Darth Maul's ship from Phantom Menace, and I already mentioned the Ghost as well. Anybody else have any honorable mentions? Tyler says he can't believe he forgot to put Kylo's TIE Silencer on the list. Kylo's the man. Yeah. Did you notice the differences between Kylo's TIE, say that 5 times fast, in The Last Jedi and in The Rise of Skywalker? Pretty cool. So, Eric has quite a few honorable mentions. A9 Vigilance, E-Wing Fighter, the Cloak Ship Shape Fighter from the Dark Empire comic books. That's a cool one, too. I love the deep cuts. LJ says Sabine spray painted tie. Yeah, that's the Mining Guild's ties. Those are really, really cool. I like those as well. Corellian Corvettes, of course. And then Krennic's shuttle. Yeah, plus the Y one. Yep, those are good too. Really, really good stuff. All right, I love it. So I tell you what, why don't we move on to the next part of tonight's show where we're going to talk quite a bit about some Star Wars trivia. Test your knowledge again. I am Dan Z from Coffee with Kenobi. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, to talk some Star Wars. I love spending time talking Star Wars with each and every one of you every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Facebook Live. And, of course, every Thursday on Coffee with Kenobi's podcast. Next month, 7 years of Coffee with Kenobi. How about that? Very, very good. Okay, so here's how the trivia is going to work. I have a number of trivia books. Oh, interesting. Speaking of trivia, Ryan says, is a Death Star considered a ship? I mean, it's just like saying is the ship from Star Wars Resistance, is that a ship? The Colossus. I mean, I guess it's kind of a ship. I don't know. Is it a ship? I mean, it's certainly it's not a moon. Adam beat me to it. It's no moon, that's for sure. That is right. It is not a moon. It's too big to be a space station. I think we can all agree on that. But in all honesty, it's I wouldn't say it's a ship. It's not like you can dock it and do usual ship things. Is that even a thing? Ship things? No, I say it's a space station, but it does fly for sure. Yeah, he beat me too by 1 second. It does have a hyperdrive, but is that the qualification of what makes a ship? I don't know. I mean, it's a space station. It's able to fly again, but it's a space station more than anything else. That's a great question. It really is. It really is. All right. Let's do this. As promised tonight, you were going to get a chance to get rid of this. Yeah, tonight we're going to do some trivia. We've done the top 5 Star Wars Starfighters. Your comments and questions will be coming up, but let's do some trivia. So this is how this is going to work. All right? This is going to be fun stuff. So, I have a number of Star Wars Trivial Pursuit games, as I mentioned, but I'm not going to use those. Sometimes when I do trivia, I just sort of talk and think of things, and that's fine too, but I'm going to do this. See this book right here? This, my friends, is a deep cut. Let me try to get the glare off. The Jedi Master's Quiz Book. 425 cosmic questions and answers about Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. Compiled by Rusty Miller. This was a 11-year-old student in Florida who wrote this thing, and he did all kinds of research. He used some making of books. He used the novels, and I remember reading this thing so much growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana. I remember sitting in the back of my station wagon and just reading this thing cover to cover over and over and over again. And this is one of the reasons why I was inspired to want to write a Star Wars book. So it was really, really kind of cool to see that happen. I hope that I get to meet Rusty Miller someday and thank him because he really inspired me. I mean, 11-year-old kid who wrote a Star Wars trivia book. So it's tough. Like, I was flipping through this thing today, and it is tough. There's true falses. There's all kinds of stuff like that. But we're going to get going. I think we're just going to have a little bit of fun with it. Of course, yes, technically you can Google stuff, but I think it'd be more authentic and more spontaneous if you just kind of jump in right now and share with us. Okay. I will tell you a little more accurately about where he got his information from. Okay, the Jedi Master's Quiz Book. It's long out of print, but you can easily find it, I'm sure, other places. Jeff McGee got me this one at Celebration Orlando. No, at Celebration Anaheim. And then back in 2015. Then shortly after that, I was looking through my attic and I found my original copy. So I've got 2 copies of this thing, which is really, really good. Tyler says it best. Googling is not the Jedi way. That's right. This came from the Star Wars and Empire novels, as I mentioned, The Art of Star Wars and the Art of Empire, The Empire Strikes Back Notebook, which is supposed to be really great. I wish I had that. The Star Wars album, The Empire Collector's Edition, and the 1981 Empire Calendar. Very good. So Eric found his on eBay. Good. That's good. Oh, also the Wookiee Storybook, Once Upon a Galaxy, The Making of Empire, the Star Wars Sketchbook, Bantha Tracks, and the Star Wars and Empire soundtrack albums. Very good. All right. We're going to start with an easy one. It says the answer's in the back. I already know the answer to this one, but I'm going to have a little place marker for myself for some ones that I may not know. Okay, let's start out with a layup, everybody. What spaceport was the cantina in? Jump in down there. Hey, Joey. 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 Hey, Bye. Joey, always great to see you, buddy. So the question is, what spaceport was the cantina in? Anybody know? Mos Eisley? That's correct. That's the document, document 94. That is correct. So Mos Eisley is the one. Let's hear it for Tyler, right? For getting that right for us. Very good. Nice job, Tyler. Awesome. All right. So our next question, what is? Let me see here. Thought I would hear that. Not. All right. Well, those are easy too. So everyone asks, okay, what was Leia's starship called at the beginning of Star Wars? What was her starship called? It's not the Tantive Fort, by the way. What was the not Tatooine Spaceport? No. This is according to the novelization. What is Leia's ship called at the beginning of A New Hope? Any guesses? Any guesses? No, not a Tatooine Spaceport. Console ship? No. Clayton says Rebel Blockade Runner. That is the answer. Ding, ding, ding. I thought I had these sound effects rigged to go off, but they're not. Oh, well. Okay, very good. All right, so there you go. If you're 2 for 2, you're in good shape. Yes, Brian, it is the Blockade Runner. Nice job. All right, let me scroll down a little bit more. Let's see. Some of these are there's a couple of doozies that are like, what? Here's another easy one. What creatures did sand people ride? Anybody know? Craig, you are correct. The Tantive 4 Rebel Blockade Runner. Very nice, my friend. Good to see you. What creatures did sand people ride? Easy one, right? Super easy. While you're thinking about that, I'm going to find a new one. There's some good ones there. The answer? Banthas, of course. Banthas. Did you know that in The Mandalorian, the episode where they go back to Tatooine, did you know those distant shots of the Banthas going through the Tatooine landscape were actually shot by George Lucas, unused footage from A New Hope? Pretty cool stuff. Look at all those people. Look at those Banthas out there. Everybody's got that one, right? Everybody knows the Banthas. Spelling it right. We like that. Very, very good. Yes, sir. You got it. Everybody's got that one. All right. This one could be a little bit trickier as far as the technical words, so let's see what you got. All right. Nah, that's too easy. All right. I got one. Here's a good one. Who commanded the rebel forces on the Yavin base? Who is in charge of the rebel forces on the Yavin base? I didn't think of that one off the top of my head. Again, who commanded the rebel forces on the Yavin base? Any guesses? I'll let you think about it. I know you're furiously typing. Hopefully not furiously Googling, because again, not the Jedi way. So we got some answers coming. David says General Dodonna. Christopher says General Dodonna. Eric says General Dodonna. The answer is General Willard. Brian got it right. That's right. I would have guessed Jan Dodonna as well, but apparently General Willard is above. How about that? Very, very good. No, it's not Mon Mothma. She wasn't even on Yavin for that. Yes. Okay. Very good. Let's see. I'm going to move ahead a little bit in the story because it is pretty much told in order of the actual film itself. All right. Number 4. Here's the one. What was one of the tortures Grand Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader used to try to force information from Princess Leia? One of the tortures that was used to try to get information from Princess Leia. What did they use to try to get information from her? It's a specific thing. Brian, it was a good guess. Good job. What is it specifically? What torture device did Grand Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader use to try to force information from Princess Leia? Interesting. It's some of these things like these things, and then when someone asks you, you kind of have a more like, oh, I'm not sure. Eric says interrogation droid. David says chemicals. Adam says blowing up a planet. Well, yeah, that's effective too. Pictures of Tarkin sunbathing. I think that's on the deleted scenes. The torture droid. It's actually a mind probe. The answer is the mind probe. When you think about it, they do refer to that as well. No, not the prequels. Threaten to blow up a world. No, this is actually in the... It'll be a long time before we can extract any information from her. They use the mind probe to do that. All right. Now, this is kind of a deep cut as well. What tool enabled Luke to see the battle between the Rebel blockade runner and the Star Destroyer? Now, this, of course, is in the radio dramas, but it is not in the film itself. Let's see how many of you are familiar with the novel or the actual radio dramas themselves. What tool enabled Luke to see the battle between the Rebel blockade runner and the Star Destroyer? What do you think? The tools that Luke used to see the battle between the blockade runner and the Star Destroyer from the surface of Tatooine. Eric says macro binoculars. And he is right. Eric, you got that one, dude. It is macro binoculars. Not electro binoculars is pretty close, but no. It's a magnifying glass, and he was able to burn a little hole in the Star Destroyer because it was very powerful. Exactly. Yeah, they are in the deleted scenes for sure. Not inoculars, not eyeglasses, not spy glasses either. Nope. Yeah, it's been a long time since I read the novel as well, but it's really, really fun for sure. All right. I'm going to try to jump around a little bit. There are quite a few in here. Oh, here's some from the Empire Strikes Back. Should we do some Empire Strikes Back questions? You want to do that? All right, let's do that. Okay. Interesting. So this is actually a question in this book. And it always kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. I'll read it to you here. It says, what color is Darth Vader's hair? In The Empire Strikes Back, of course. Famously, we get to see Vader's hair. Briefly. Kinda. So what's the color of it? Anybody remember the color of Darth Vader's hair? Eric, I always had faith in you, bud. I knew you'd get it. So what color is Darth Vader's hair in The Empire Strikes Back? Now, this isn't a pun or a joke. Burnt brown, burnt, gray, fair as well. See why it's a weird question? The answer here is that he didn't have any. So it is sort of a trick question. I would guess, look who's here. Corey is right. None. That's right. No hair. He had no hair. That's right. Okay. Who's the commander of the lead walker in the Hoth snow battle? Who is the commander of the lead walker in the Hoth snow battle? Anybody know that one? Also, the actor, of course, is the main villain in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. If that helps, that's a big guess. Oh, you don't know that one? The commander of the lead walker in the Hoth snow battle. Tyler says Admiral Veers. You're close. It is Veers. It is absolutely Veers, but he is a general. Eric, you're 2 for 2, man. He is General Veers. Very good. Okay. Corey, yes, we will send that over to your house right away. Very good. Chris had General Veers. Brian had General Veers. Very, very good. All right, next. There is, after Luke is returned from his traumatic encounter with the Wampa, being saved, something happens. LJ says Julian Glover is the actor. That is absolutely correct. Very good, my friend. So what's the surgeon droid's name that helps Luke and nurses him back to health? Anybody know? What is the surgeon droid's name that nurses Luke back to health? This droid... well, I know this one because I had the action figure. So what's the name of the droid that nurses him back to health? Anybody know? You can think about it for a few minutes. Eric says 2-1B. Brian says 2-1B. You're both correct. Does anybody know why, by the way, in the novels, they spell 2-1B? Or they spell R2D2ARTOO or DETOO as opposed to just saying R2D2? Do you know why they actually spell the names of droids in the novels, in all of the Star Wars books themselves? Any ideas? Very good. Hey, Gabby. How are you? Gabby is one of my former students. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. We are doing great here for sure. Absolutely. Hey, and if you want to answer some Star Wars trivia questions, help yourself. 2-1B is correct. Very, very good. So anybody know, again, why you spell the names of these droids in the books as opposed to just writing 2-1B? Droids are spelled out phonetically. They are. They're actually spelled out phonetically so that it's understood what the pronunciation is of them. Because if you hadn't seen the movies, it may not be as crystal clear to you. So that is why. You can pronounce them correctly and spell them out accurately. All right. We'll do a couple more before we wrap up tonight for this. Thanks again, everybody, for joining me, of course, every week, Monday night. We're not done yet, but if you are just joining us, I'm Dan Z from Coffee with Kenobi, bringing you Facebook Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And, of course, you can find the podcast every week on Thursdays, wherever you find your podcatchers as well. It's very, very good to chat with you and talk some Star Wars. Back to stumping you all. I haven't really gotten a really good stumping. So far, everybody's gotten at least one. So I got to find a good one that's really going to confuse you. Okay. Like they have some that says, what bounty hunter captured Han? I think that's pretty easy. Okay. What weapons was used to clear the way for the rebel transports leaving Hoth? There is one. I'm sorry. What weapon was used to clear the way for the rebel transports leaving Hoth? Any ideas? It's hard to say this without giving anything away, of course. Interesting. Again, what weapon was used to clear the way for the rebels' transports leaving Hoth? The ion cannon. Boom, is correct. Look at that. See, Eric, you brought your A game. And so did you, David. Of course, I would expect nothing less, for sure. Oh, interesting. Here's a tricky one. Actually, here's one that I think is a good stumper. This might stump all of you. Okay. On Dagobah, Yoda finally reveals who he is to Luke. And they are in Yoda's hut. Eric, you did a good job. What does Yoda cook for Luke? What food does Yoda cook for Luke? I love this one. This is a really, really deep cut. What kind of food does he cook for him? And again, don't Google it. Just think about it. So again, the question is, what does he make for him? So it looks like Eric got the closest. He says root leaf stew. It's just root leaf, but I mean it is a stew or a soup perhaps. So it's actually not hot dogs. Tom says stew, and Brian says stew, but no, it's actually root leaf. That's the technical term. I remember reading that as a kid, being really surprised by that. Okay. All right, here's another one here. I think that's pretty obscure. I want to see how you do on this one. All right. What course did the Falcon take entering the asteroid field, and who set it? No, Corey, it's not actually a cup of noodles. Root leaf. So what course does the Falcon take when entering the asteroid field, and who's the person who actually sets the course? Whenever you're about to go into light speed or go a certain direction, because obviously they don't take the light speed, they don't go into hyperspace to go into the asteroid field. That would be pretty dangerous and unlikely to work. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is in the galaxy's edge. Good point. Manwich, yes, but no, not a manwich. Not a manwich. It's root leaf. Root leaf. So what is the course that does the Falcon take entering the asteroid field, and who set it? Who set this course to bring the Falcon into the asteroid field? What's the coordinates? Eric's got it again. Chewie set 271. Eric, are you looking at your book while we're doing this? Is that what's going on here? Just kidding. All right. Let's see. Here's one. We're just gonna do one more, and then we're gonna wrap this one up for sure. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. This will be the last one for tonight. We'll do this every week if you all enjoy doing it. What components did Han check on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? What components did Han check on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? I'll give you a hint. There are two of them. There are two components that Han checks on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed. What are those two components that Han checks on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? This is a tough one. This might be the toughest one of the night. Nathan says power coupling. Okay, there's a guess. It is tough. It's very tough. I'll read it again. What components did Han check on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? No, you do know a lot about Star Wars, Tyler. It's just that this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one, for sure. So no worries there. What components did Han check on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? It is mentioned, albeit briefly, like really, really quickly, for sure. Oil and tires. That's actually correct. And you also win a new car. Good job. No, that's actually not correct. You probably will, Brian. You'll know when I say them. L3. No, not L3. Not so much. L3 isn't a component, but a part of the inner workings of the ship's navigational system. Yes, that's what L3 is, actually. Do you want to know? Chris has the ultimate solution. 42 is the answer. No. Okay. I'll read it again. What components did Han check on the Falcon the first time the hyperdrive failed? The answer is the horizontal boosters and alluvial dampers. The alluvial dampers I remember because Han he has like some sort of unique tool in his hand while he's trying to figure something out and fix it. So yeah, the answer is the hyperdrive. No. It's the horizontal boosters and the alluvial dampers. Very good. Thank you, everybody. This is it, the Jedi Masters Quiz Book. It was written back in 1981 by Rusty Miller. It's something that's long been a treasure of mine. Actually, 1982, I'm sorry. Hopefully you can find it on eBay. It's well worth it. It's got a lot of great stuff. And, it's pretty cool, again, that an 11-year-old kid took his passion for Star Wars and did something about it. Very, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. All right. That's not it. It's Bring Me the Hydro Spanner. Right. Yeah, that's in there, too. They do talk about the alluvial dampers. I'll watch again and be listening. I think you'll catch it for sure. All right. So before we let you go, a couple of things, a little bit of housekeeping for you. Of course, you can find me here every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. If you are someone who loves thinking about and reading about Star Wars, the Star Wars book, Expand Your Knowledge of a Galaxy Far, Far Away, written by myself, Pablo Hidalgo, and Cole Horton, is now available for pre-order on Amazon for sure. Available October 20th, 2020. Be sure to pre-order your copy as well. I can't say much about the book, but what I will say is it's great, great fun. You're going to love it. I had a blast writing it and collaborating with Pablo and Cole. Is a huge honor, one of the biggest honors of my Star Wars life, to be sure. For sure. Good night, Adam. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much, everybody. You're not rusty. It's just these are like pretty obscure things. I'm glad it was fun. We've got a lot more coming to you each and every week. So I guess I should tell you next week, let's do a top 5 favorite stormtroopers. Now these can be stormtroopers or these can be clone troopers. Any of that classic white armor. Give me your top 5 favorites. Brian is a 501st guy. He's going to have his hands full for sure. But top 5 favorite pieces of Stormtrooper style armor, for sure. It's going to be fun to think about. I mean, there's something, you've got all the clones, You know what? Why don't I tweak it? Because the clones sort of are their own thing. We'll just keep it original trilogy and sequel trilogy. Your favorite Stormtrooper armor. It depends on whatever ones you have. There's a lot of cool ones from the video games, from all kinds of stuff. There's a lot to pick from for sure. It's going to be fun. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Oh, McClunky, yes, of course. CWK forever. I love it. Yeah, so again, next week, your top 5 favorite Stormtrooper armor designs from the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Nothing from the prequels or the Clone Wars. That's a separate thing. We'll do a separate category for the clones. This will just be Stormtroopers, not clones and Stormtroopers, but just straight up Stormtroopers, as Tom, our CWK newsman, just said. All right, so again, everybody, thank you again so very much. Be sure to like the page, to go ahead and join our CWK Cafe group where we have Star Wars conversations all the time. And yes, you can use them from Solo or Rogue One, sure, anything. That's sort of original trilogy era type stuff. So anytime after the Empire takes over. How about that? If Palpatine is around, whether way, across the galaxy waiting for Kylo Ren to find him, or he's doing his thing, just anything with Stormtroopers for sure. That's right. This is a great Monday tradition. Thank you so much, Tyler. I agree. Great. Again, thank you all for allowing me to be a part of your Monday evenings. I think it's wonderful and a great time. Again, like us on Facebook. Please follow us on Instagram. I really want to get up to 10,000 followers so I can get that swipe up option on Instagram stories. So if you're watching this and you get a chance and you have an Instagram account, please go ahead and like Coffee with Kenobi. That would be great. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. You can find my writings on StarWars.com as well as IGN, and be sure to pre-order the Star Wars book as well. Thanks again so much, everybody. Have a great night. This is the podcast you're looking for. We will see you next Monday, and of course, on Coffee with Kenobi, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night.